All right, what up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel, and welcome to Morning Coffee Thoughts, where I give my thoughts over morning coffee. This is where I talk about different lessons I've learned in my life, things I'm going through, updates to the channel. So today, it's been a second, so we have a lot to go through. The first thing I wanted to update you guys on is that I have officially moved to America. My dog's over there, but it took me like 2 weeks to get her paperwork done. Guys, if you are 21 and thinking about getting a dog, I would recommend waiting until you're at least in the country you're going to be in for a while, because that was the biggest pain in my ass to get my dog to this country. But we have officially made it, and we have moved to Chicago. So a lot of people have asked me, why Chicago? That's the gang capital of the world. That's ghetto. That's blah, blah, blah. You guys don't really like Chicago. I will say Chicago is a great city in the summer, but I don't really live in the city. It's pretty far out. So the city problems I don't really have to deal with. And my family's out here. And in my thought, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to get my stuff to Chicago, come here for now, and who knows, I might switch at some point, but it's just easier. There's a studio here, cheaper than what I'd pay otherwise. So today's the first day we start building our studio, so hopefully by August we can have something up and running officially. And I wanted to tell you guys too about some realizations that I had recently. So politics doesn't matter as much as I used to think. Now, you guys know on this channel, I would say I'm somewhat politically aware. I don't really follow the international stuff, but I talk about things that are political, maybe the pay gap, men's rights issues. And I zone in on that specific topic because it has to do I cover culture, relationships, and I do think that stuff is connected. But for the average person, you vote every 4 years, and I don't think politics affects your life as much as you think. And there's not much you can really do about it. You go vote, you do your part. And I used to think it mattered a lot. I used to think it said something about the person, what political party they voted for. And when I was younger, my dad would tell me, because I was pretty politically, I would go to Turning Point events. I loved watching Ben Shapiro dunk on feminists. And the older I get, the less congruency I see. I was on a volleyball team in England, right? And to be honest, guys, sometimes it was a bit tough because I'm living this normal life as a volleyball player, and I'm, saying these super controversial things. So sometimes it kind of was a bit awkward. Some of the girls didn't really like it. Some did, it just depended. But one of the girls who was the nicest to me over the years had she was a diehard feminist. And it made me realize that I don't really care what religion you are. I don't really care what political party you are. I care about how you treat me. That's the most important thing. And so many times people use politics and a religion as a substitute for being a good person. And I've been dating a guy for a bit now. And I don't know, he makes me think a lot. And one of the things that he made me think about is that in the next 10 years of your life, what is really going to change? Nick F, right? I'm trying to YouTube, please don't dox, his thought process is we have the wrong people in control. Well, even if that's true, in the next 10 years, is that going to change? 10 years from now, I'll be 37. completely different stage in my life. Is it worth it to not enjoy life and to be worried about that stuff when, if that ever changes, it won't really be in my lifetime? And that's why the direction of my content in the future, I want it to be more in-person interviews and, I guess, action-based, like stuff we can actually do to improve ourselves as women, rather than complaining about problems that'll never change. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fun. I love dunking on a feminist. But in the grand scheme of things, I think back the last 10 years of watching all these debates and conservative content. And don't get me wrong, I would say overall it's been a net good for me. But in the grand scheme of things, learning to cook better the last 3 years has improved my life more than, watching debates. So, I don't know. Just something I've been thinking about. And speaking of politics, Trump, I got to talk about this. I can't believe that Trump almost died at one of his rallies. That is insane. I think the American people will never forget what they were doing in that moment when Trump almost got shot. That was the most badass video I have ever seen. That was the most badass video. So he not only dodged a bullet, right? So he dodges the bullet. The Secret Service is like, get down, get down. And this man's putting his fist up. They don't know if the shooter's dead or alive. He's putting his head up, putting his fist up. I'm like, oh, this guy is... And I was thinking about Trump. He has to be the most badass man that ever lived. He had kids with not one, not two, but 3 model-level attractive women. His kids all love him. They work in his business. They're all pretty successful. He decided in his 70s, F it, I'm going to run for president. Did it, won, lost. Then at 80, said, you know what, F it, I'm going to run again. Literally dodged a bullet. I can't think of anyone that lived a life more badass than that. Oh, and not to mention, he's a billionaire. He made billions of dollars. He also conquered entertainment. He had a huge TV show, Literally. One of the most badass people to ever live. Crazy. Okay. Last thing I wanted to talk about and give you guys updates on. Brittney Renner video. So a lot of people have been seeing this clip of me quitting the GFY show. And I actually really like the people running the show. I think the concept was a good idea. But, I'm sorry. And I'm going to react to that clip eventually when I come back. But, I'm okay with debating people. I'm okay with disagreeing with people. But what you're not going to do is scream at me and make up shit about me. And I'm going to have to sit there and take it. It's just, look, I'm not a yeller. I'll go back and forth with you. But when you're starting to scream at me, I'm done. I'm out. I don't really, in my head, I'm like, I am not getting paid enough for this shit. I was like, you know what? But it was crazy. The crazy thing about that experience is all these women were screaming at me about how privileged I am. And I'll be the first to tell you guys, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had every head start in life I could possibly ask for. The best head start I ever had was a great father. And the more people I interviewed, the more I realized that so many people are alienated from their dad. If I want business advice, I go to my dad. If I want relationship advice, I go to my dad. If I want people advice, just how to, like, I always know I can get an objective opinion from my father. And what was interesting to me is these women that are also so privileged, most of them went to school, most of them had their schools paid for because of athletics, most of them have had access to high-level men, were screaming to me about my privilege. And the crazy thing is, my dad, he helped a lot of people from India come to America. So he would, he had a company in India, and he would help them like do the immigration process and get to America. And even just working with like, some of my employees were from like Africa, and they came from literally impoverished places. I think sometimes women in America have no idea, like, and I know I'm privileged, but it was just interesting to see, like, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. It's like, you guys are American, you've had access to high-level men, you can make money off of social media. I know what I was getting paid to be there. And I would assume they were getting paid similar. And I'm thinking, the audacity of you guys to call me privileged when we're all getting paid to sit and talk, when, let's be honest, there's men smarter than us, better than us in every way. They're better at getting their point across, more intelligent, everything. Yet we get this opportunity to talk about sports. They're putting all this money into a sports show. And I'm thinking, you guys realize, like, I don't even really watch basketball. And I was like, and I get this opportunity. There's men that would kill for that. But it all stems from jealousy. And interviewing 1,000 people, that's what I realized is many people that didn't come from a good background or a good family or have issues in that area, that's what they're most jealous of. So I want to talk more in depth about that, but I was just thinking the lack of self-awareness. My producer, Blessing, you guys have heard me talk about him. The stuff that guy has gone through, and he never complains, ever. He has like the craziest life story. And I'm like, I want you guys to sit next to him. Or some of the people that my dad got from India. Literal poverty. I'm like, I just think Americans will never realize how good we have it. Because we're always told it's not good enough. Even sometimes when they're saying like the country's going to shit, whatever, it's like, is it? I know it's like on a decline, but I don't know, the water's running, power's on. I don't know. But I'm going to talk more about that. I'm going to react to that clip eventually, but that was so crazy. I don't mind if we're going to debate, that's fine. But if you're screaming at me, I don't do that. So, I think if you're adults, you should be able to talk like adults. And if you can't have an adult conversation without screaming, then I'll go home. I don't care. Have your opinion. So like the video on your way out, guys. Subscribe. I will react to that when I come back. Hopefully by August, we'll have a new studio. I'll probably post some video updates of us building it. But yeah, love you guys. Like the video, and I'll talk to you later.